14 will eat your entire life up. In fact,
also, I just started playing a Pokemon game 2 days ago, so I'm like, I just picked up one addictive video game. Why would I want to pick up another one?
Yeah. I still need to fucking finish Pokemon Shield or Sword or whichever one I got. I don't even remember which one I got. Like, I haven't even gotten to the first fucking gym in that game. I used to love Pokemon. I mean, I still do love Pokemon, but I don't know. Just shit's eating my life up.
Didn't take you this time.
Huh?
I get it. But I said it just didn't take you away this time like it usually does, which happens
honestly,
to me a lot
Sun and
too.
Moon didn't either. I think I don't want to say I'm growing out of Pokemon because I don't think I am. I still fucking adore it. I guess I'm growing out of the formula? I don't know. And I want to get, like, the new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon on my Switch. Like, that was the whole reason I found out my fucking Nintendo account was hacked, was because I was like, oh, I want to get the new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Why is my account suspended? But, yeah, I don't know. I'm just, it hasn't captured me the way it used to. And I fucking love Corviknight. I want one of those.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I mean, I haven't beaten a Pokemon game since Heart Gold, Silver in the year 2009.
Yeah. The year of our Lord 2009.
The next 3 gens so Gen 6 and 7, and then also Ruby, the Ruby Sapphire remakes. I purchased all those games, and every time I purchased them, I played about 3 gems worth, and then fell off of it. And I also did the same thing with Pokemon Yellow, and I also did the same thing with my replay of Pokemon Silver. So all of them, exact same thing. And I think that's just what it is. It's just like I feel like there's some design issues with Pokemon games, honestly. And a couple of very specific design issues make it where I just kind of get not even frustrated. It's just the output of enjoyment I get isn't quite equal to the input that I put into it. But I started XY again 2 days ago, and I'm having a really good time, and I'm kind of committed to doing it.
X and Y are great.
Although already some of the design decisions are already rearing their ugly head. Some of which are unique to
Are you one of those people who hate convenience?
No.
Eli, you know me. In some ways, yes. I think that false swipe is stupid, and they shouldn't give it to you after 4 hours of gameplay.
I fucking love false swipe.
I think it's fucking stupid. If they're gonna give it to you, they should at least wait for 30 hours or something.
Okay, I heard. Then you're fucking stupid.
No, I said false swipe is false swipe is fucking stupid. Not you, Eli.
It's like, I love false swipe. Then you're fucking stupid.
No, that's not what I said.
Maddy. Jeez. The claws have come out.
I'm glad that you assumed that wasn't actually what I said. That's good. I'm glad.
if it was, I would have just been like, Maddy is getting real sassy these days.
Good
today.
Holy
gracious.
No,
someone
I think
give her some fucking coffee.
I think false swipe is dumb and is legitimately one of the reasons why I fall off the game. Because here's my very, very, very quick reason why. Okay, here's the thing. Late in the game, like, sure, I guess, whatever. I mean, although I say that as if I've played into, quote, late in the game in any Pokemon game in a decade, so I wouldn't really know about the late game. But I know that in the early game, so one problem that XY has is that there are so many Pokemon. The first route in that game, literally the first route between the first 2 towns, has 12 Pokemon in it. That's an absurd number. Usually you get like 4 or 5 per route, right? Like, max. There's literally 12, unless there's some I haven't found. There's probably just 12. And every route is like that. And I remember that from when I played it before. And what does that mean? Well, it means you gotta catch them all. I know you don't gotta, but, like, it's fun to, right? And the thing is, if you don't have false swipe, every time you try to catch a Pokemon, it's a little challenge. It's not a big challenge. It's not like it's hard, but it adds tension. It adds tension and texture and flavor to the game. I mean, why play a game if you don't want to have some kind of challenge, even an easy one? right? An easy challenge is still it's still something that engages your mind and you interact with the game. And you learn your Pokemon. You learn, you know what, this Weedle is level 5. My strongest Pokemon is level 8. That's a bit much. Maybe I'll use his weaker guy. That's probably the right choice. You kind of get a vague feel for the relative strengths of your pokes, and it just helps you interact with them, right? And get to know them and try to make smart decisions. And when you pick the right one, when you pick a poke that brings it to very, very low health, you're like, hell yeah, I made the right choice. Like, that was cool. And it's fun. And once you get False Swipe, it just trivializes that because there's no danger about whether or not you'll catch any of them. It's completely obvious. It's a foregone conclusion that you will catch them. And if you know you're going to succeed, if you know that you're going to succeed in a challenge no matter what, then it just becomes work. It's just a chore. Instead of a challenge, it's just a thing you got to fucking do. And to me,
Counterpoint. I don't want a challenge. I just want to mindlessly do stuff. I'm currently Terraria just put out their patch 1.4 on May 16th, which is one of my best friend's birthdays. Happy birthday, Ruth! I love you. And in the new Terraria patch, they put out something called Journey Mode, which is essentially creative mode, like in Minecraft. Mm-hmm. In this mode, you can it's basically cheat your way to victory. Like, I can turn off all spawns, or I can bump them up to 10 times the spawn rate. I can turn on God mode, so I never take damage. And when you collect a certain number of specific items, it lets you unlock the ability to duplicate those items endlessly. I love it. I fucking love that. There's no challenge to it. It's great. It just lets me do shit.
See, I see that as something different, and maybe you don't, which is fine. But I see that as something different because I see that as allowing you to. First of all, different kind of game, right? But the issue isn't that it's not a challenge for me, Pokemon. The issue is that it's not a challenge, but it is work. Like, it does take a million fucking years, and it is an endless slog. If you're gonna make me do something that's an endless slog, at least give it also a little bit of intellectual interest. Or don't ask me to do it at all, right? Contrast with, say, Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing, there's no challenge. There's no way to lose at Animal Crossing, basically. But just going around picking weeds is enjoyable because it's not overly strenuous, I guess. Like, what I mean is, like, keeping a nice island in Animal Crossing and getting your good health and picking all your weeds is exponentially less work than, say, catching all the Pokemon. Right?
I mean, yeah. But I mean, I see catching, like, my ultimate goal in a Pokemon game is to catch the Pokemon and finish the story. Like, I don't go out and do battles so that I can be the best Pokemon trainer. I go out and do battles so that I can collect all the Mons.
Oh, I agree. Me too.
And, like, to me, that is kind of an endless slog, just because, like, I don't always know all the right places to go. You know, it's something that I have to look up. You know, it's something that I have to kind of grind for. The first Pokédex I completed was in Pokemon Moon. I have never, ever completed a Pokédex before that. And even with something like False Swipe, it felt like an accomplishment because it had taken me so long. I've been playing Pokemon since 1998. This is, you know, I was 12 when I started playing Pokemon. Or I guess 13. I would have been 13 in 98. It's taken me that long, almost 22 years, around 20-ish years. I don't remember when I completed it, but to complete a Pokédex, you know, and even with something like False Swipe that did make it easier for me, there was still the challenge of finding the Pokemon and running around until that Pokemon appeared. And, you know, making sure I had the right Pokemon for trades, because, you know, maybe I had to go through the global trade system, and, you know, so, you know, there's a lot of different factors to it for me.
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from.
I actually agree with you there, though. And I think the problem I'm describing pretty much only applies to early game, I think. Because, yeah, like imagine if because later in the game, there's a million reasons why getting the poke is tough. Like I said, like knowing where to go, like you said, having the right trades. Even when you have false swipe for the later pokes, like legendaries, you still gotta put them to sleep. You gotta paralyze them. They might be hitting you really fucking hard because they're really tough, high level pokes. But would you? And this is purely hypothetical. Would you have had the stamina to complete your Pokedex if every single Pokemon was it's 10 minutes into your game and you walk into the tall grass and there's a Bidoof and you hit it once with false swipe and then throw a Pokeball and you catch it, and you just did that for 200 hours?
I mean,
so
I'm actually curious.
I have completed the Pokedex in every single Pokemon game that I've played since Diamond. So this is going to sound weird coming from me, but the catchphrase of the game from the people who make the game is not "gotta catch 'em all." That was for the anime here in America, and it was catchy because of the Poke Rap. The game does not want you to catch them all. The game wants you to catch six of your friends and mix them up consistently and go through it. The early game explicitly is that way. So the reason there are 12 is so that 12 different people running through the first one will see a different Pokemon and be like, holy shit, that's cool. Let me add it to my team.
Most Pokemon games do not no other Pokemon game puts 12 different pokes in the first route. That's
every Pokemon game since X and Y puts 12 in basically every route.
Also, Bernard says that's not true, because I was complaining about this to Bernard, and he's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure Sun and Moon probably had like 6 or 7 in the first route.
Still,
I'm not. I don't think that the game doesn't expect.
But the specific thing you're talking about, where you're walking in and there are X number, does not matter what that number is not what the game is designed around. Is not, you are not supposed to catch them all right here, right now, in this club, in these lights, to this music, with your girl on your arm.
I strongly disagree. I think the game very clearly says there's multiple ways to play, and this is definitely one of them. And
that is one of them, but I do not think that is the one that it is designed around. So it is not a design flaw of it. It is a side product of having all these other things.
Sorry, just real quick. I'm going to go put my ice cream away. I'll be right back.
Okay, cool. And also, Maddy, you should buy quick balls, because then it's not work. You just throw them out turn 1.
Actually, I don't think I have quick balls yet. I think NBC gave me one, but I don't think I can buy them. So there.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, because quick balls are great. Because if you see it and you don't have it, you throw out the quick ball, and if you get it, cool, you have it. And if you don't get it with the quick ball, you then can say, do I actually want it, or should I just kill this guy?
I do,
and you kill him a lot. Yeah, and I'm just saying that now is not the time to catch them all.
Back later, and it's going to be more boring?
So.
Because the problem is still going to exist later, except it's going to be worse.
But it's not going to be any work whatsoever, because you'll have quick balls, or you'll have nest balls, or things like that. It also is like, this is requiring looking up the number of Pokemon that are in a route.
No, I didn't look it up
to begin with.
Well, actually, I got 11, but I assumed that if there was Pansage and Pansear, there was probably Panpour as well. So that was just my assumption.
This is now the arguing about Pokemon podcast.
Sorry, it's not even arguing. I'm going to
stop.
I have a very idiosyncratic point of view, and I like hearing other people's responses to it.
But all I'm saying, I've been quiet for a long time. All I'm saying is you are approaching this game like work and not like a game. You are being Desert Stream right now. You are looking at this as, how do I maximize my efficiency to catch all the Pokemon as I go through? That is not what the game is designed around. Then you would not care how many Pokemon are in a route. You would see, shit, yeah, Fire Monkey, catch a Fire Monkey, and then go and punch the gym leader in his face with a fucking Fire Monkey.
Too many is kind of I admit that was a bit of a sidetrack. That's actually a different problem, and it's frankly a relatively minor problem. But no, the fact that there's too many, I think, is a different problem, which is just that you get so overwhelmed with Pokemon that it makes it hard to, it makes it, in my opinion, kind of hard to focus on them or be friends with them and stuff. And no, I was not sitting around grinding, because you run into that many just as you make your way through the area. But you just there's just so many fucking Pokemon that I think it kind of undercuts the whole developer relationship with a couple of your Pokemon, especially when you combine it with XP share, which again, not categorically opposed to, but it can cause problems when combined with
fucking
other
love
things.
XP share.
It can, I have it turned on, but it can cause problems. I don't know. I just think that if your game very explicitly allows for and not encourages exclusively, but very much says hey, here's one way to definitely play. In fact, I do think Professor Oak in the first game is definitely hey, you should fill out your Pokedex. That's a fun thing to do. You should do that. That's what me, the fictional character, is telling you to do. Whereas other fictional characters are telling you should be friends with your Pokemon, and other fictional characters are telling you should be the best trainer and have the strongest Pokemon. There's multiple goals, right? But one of them, one of them is the one that's the most compelling to me. But in my opinion, that one's also fucking boring because of some certain design decisions that the game makes.
Okay.
No, I think I've retroactively decided that it's good, not because the album itself, but because one of his later albums legitimately fucking owns. So now that I know that he is capable of making good music, I'm okay, I'll be a little nicer to this album. You know what I mean? Like a reverse The Last Jedi, or like a reverse Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen that one.
Oh, in case y'all are curious, Rise of Skywalker caused me to retroactively go back and revise my opinions on all J.J. Abrams movies, and now I hate all of them. Yes, even Mission Impossible 3.
Wow, that was literally the one I was going to ask you about.
To be fair, I haven't rewatched it, but guilty until proven innocent, as far as I'm concerned.
Sorry, not meaning to belabor all of this, but
no, it's fine.
I haven't seen Rise of Skywalker, and I'm not inclined to see it because I keep hearing it's really bad, but I'm curious about why it's bad. So if one of you afterwards, or now, I guess, could tell me about why it's bad, because The Last Jedi fucking slaps. So imagine
The Last Jedi, but well, hold on, Sam. You actually kind of like it. If we want to give the reason why it's bad, I should say.
Oh no, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Oh, I thought you basically liked it. We haven't talked about it in a while.
I said it's enough to see a lightsaber huge. That doesn't mean I liked it. It's a Star Wars movie, and Star Wars movies are my favorite. So
okay, that's true. Well, I have a deep and seething hatred for it. It basically gave me an existential crisis. I was like, this movie is all that is wrong with the world. Imagine The Last Jedi, but opposite. It's just honestly, the thing is, in order for me to really explain why it's bad, a lot of movies, it's easy to explain why it's bad. This movie, no one's done this yet, and if no one does it, I might have to. But me doing it would require watching the movie again. I would read a Tim Rogers length 40,000 word just evisceration of this movie, Like, somebody needs to put down in writing, like, just enumerate how bad the movie is. And I don't mean like in a CinemaSins way where I just list every single fault. I mean like tease out metaphysically and theoretically what it is about the movie that is so fucking terrible. And if no one else does that, I'm gonna fucking do it, because I haven't seen that. All I've seen is like typical reviews. You know, and the reviews are just like, yeah, it's not that good, or whatever, it's not that great. But that's not the same as like critical analysis, right? Anyway, I hate the movie, and I think that it is like, it made me not care about Star Wars. It's that bad. I'm just like, I don't give a shit.
Well,
Yeah, so
in Star Wars defense, I didn't care about it until the Force Awakens.
Well, get ready to go back to not caring about it.
So the short version, and the reason I don't like it is the number one problem with it is pacing. It doesn't let up. It's just full blast at 11 the whole movie, and because of that, you don't get any of the quiet moments that like make Star Wars, and so it just feels off the whole time. It feels like you can't catch your breath. The other main thing is, so you know how The Last Jedi, well, I mean, you don't because you started caring with Force Awakens, but The Last Jedi changed everything about what it means to be Star Wars because it understood what it meant to be Star Wars. Meanwhile, the Rise of Skywalker doesn't change a damn thing about Star Wars because it doesn't understand what it means to be Star Wars. So it's like it copied off of Star Wars's homework, and without getting the like, it's like it went through Google Translate and came back without understanding the meaning on either of the languages. And so it's like there's a lot of Star Wars-y things that happen, but none of the like, this is Star Wars feeling ever happens in the whole movie.
And more importantly, it's not like it did a Google Translate mistranslation of Star Wars in like a cute, funny way. It's like in a way that is deeply cynical. It's like one thing I said not long after watching it, I said that Star Wars The Last Jedi spitefully laughed in the face of the very concept that a movie could be about something or have anything meaningful to say. But then a second later was like, actually no, it rapidly oscillates. 50% of the time, the movie is spitefully laughing in the face of the idea that a movie can have anything to say. And the other 50% of the time, it does have something to say, but what it's saying is horrible. So, yeah. On a thematic level, I find it either banal or insipid, depending on what part of the movie we're in.
Yeah, and then on a meta level, all of the like hype leading up to it, JJ was like, oh, the best thing that Rian Johnson ever gave me was Kelly Marie Tran. He took it in interesting places, and I'm excited where to go. And sounded like he was going to actually like listen to another human being and build off of Last Jedi. But the first like 15 minutes is spent just undoing everything that was done in The Last Jedi. So it's like,
has one moment.
That's unfortunate.
This movie has one moment about 2/3 of the way through ish. I'm just guessing that. First of all, it's not even an important plot point. They could have like cut the scene. It wouldn't have changed anything. They put a scene in there just to very explicitly take something from The Last Jedi and reverse it and say, no, actually, never mind. And I literally yelled, fuck you, and flipped off the movie screen. I was so upset because it wasn't even a major plot point. It was like the movie was just had hate in its heart.
That just reminds me of Patton Oswalt's joke about how my favorite movie is Jerry Maguire when my brother yells, fuck you at the screen.
I will say the movie does have some really cool sights and sounds. It's got some of probably the best, not visual language when it comes to like filmmaking, but I mean from a pure world design concept art standpoint, some of the coolest, most interesting visual concepts in the series. Also, by far, has the best score of the sequel trilogy, which is weird. Even though I love Last Jedi so much, I don't think that John Williams' score for the sequels have been particularly good.
Last Jedi Force Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker.
It's fucking great. It's so good. Anyway, so like kudos to that.
Yeah.
I do listen to the score on the reg, and then remember, wow, none of the feelings and emotions evoked by this music were present in the movie. In fact, It's got a couple of new musical motifs. It's got this one new primary motif that wasn't in the previous movies. You know, it's not like it's Rey's theme or the Empire's or the Resistance's theme. It's a brand new motif that, upon listening to the score, I was like, I have no idea what this was attached to in the movie or what it's the theme of, because the movie is just too incoherent for that to matter.
Yes.
Whereas normally Star Wars, it's like, oh, whenever Leia's on screen, it plays Leia's theme, right? This is like, I have no idea. Nice music.
The disparity on Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score is 51% and the audience score is 86%.
Oh, it's the reason the audience score is
nowadays, most of the critics just think it sucks. Even the fans nowadays, but yeah.
It's because it got reverse review bombed because everyone hated The Last Jedi because it pissed on what they thought Star Wars was about. Luke Skywalker.
The Last Jedi has a critic score of 90% and an audience score of 43%.
Yeah.
Fuck these Star Wars bros.
Yeah,
like, fans are the worst.
Real controversial opinion here, but fuck the Star Wars bros who think that The Last Jedi is terrible.
I know.
Yeah,
although one thing that I hate is that I've seen that most of the fans have come around to the idea that Rise of Skywalker sucks ass, probably because, you know, a truly bad work of art.
You can now see it in your home.
On you, you can't. Well, also it's just like no one can avoid the fact that when you watch it, you feel nothing. You know. So anyway, but what annoys me is that Last Jedi has gotten killed in the collateral damage, because now the narrative that I'm hearing that is apparently like the new canonical fan narrative is, oh, the entire sequel project was a complete wash. The only good one is Rogue One, which is a terrible movie. So anyway,
Rogue One's so good. We're gonna be plugged up to our live support machines, podcasting and complaining at each other at our opinions on Rogue One.
Okay, well, whether Rogue One is actually good or whether it actually sucks ass, the point is, it's very annoying that Last Jedi got dragged down in the popular discourse of like, okay, turns out all the sequels were bad. Also, the narrative that everyone shares now is like, oh, it's bad because they didn't have a plan. And I'm like, honestly, no. Not everything has to be MCU. Like, the original movies didn't have a plan, like, at all, and it was fine.
They famously didn't have a plan.
In fact, they had to stop George Lucas from being George Lucas in order to make the first 3 movies good.
Yeah, they actually, like, very, very explicitly, like original Star Wars trilogy is almost a case study in how you can fly by the seat of your pants and still make a great serialized narrative, right? Also look at, like, I don't know, the history of television. So it's like, no, that's not why it was bad, you know? Or people will be like, oh yes, Rise of Skywalker was bad, but it's only because Rian Johnson wrote the series into a corner somehow. And I'm like, no, he didn't. When Last Jedi ended, I had a very clear idea of like, oh, I can't wait to see where they go from here, you know? Anyway, the point is, once a narrative becomes like a canonical opinion, all the fans just decide that that's their opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
and we live in a society.
And also, without spoiling it, there's a character death, and the character's last on-screen words, which happen about 30 minutes before they actually go. So there could have been time for anything. Their last on-screen word is "ow" in a comic relief scene. So
fucking amazing.
There's just a lot of stuff that, like,
feel free to spoil it to me in Discord, by the way, because I don't fucking care.
Most of the Star Wars part is getting cut out. It's not going to make the cut. We had too much funny stuff earlier.
Yeah.
But
just tell me.
Okay, so that's Kylo Ren's last words after being redeemed. But,
Kylo Ren
he was redeemed?
So Kylo Ren
God, now I definitely don't want to watch it.
His redemption is actually the best part.
maybe not. But remember how Last Jedi was intentionally setting up that like Kylo and Rey's relationship is like the key element of the whole fucking series, and it's like a really, really important and deep relationship that's very interesting.
I fucking hate Reylo, but go on.
Yeah, me too. But like, they shouldn't be together, but they're very interesting. The episode 9 basically tries to double down on that and be like, yeah, no, this is the main thing, which is fine for the record because I wanted to see where that relationship went. But where it goes is largely a dumb direction. I don't mind that he gets redeemed, but because I always believe in redemption, but I don't believe in how he got redeemed. But anyway, but more importantly, so like that's the main point of the movie, right? Then how come Kylo Ren doesn't have a single line of dialogue for the last half hour of the film?
Yeah.
He like is in a fight scene and then he like dies and he has no dialogue through all of this.
That's really dumb.
What most people think, and I will say, I was dunking, this whole conversation happened because I was dunking on J.J. Abrams, but even though I am inclined to dunk on him because I do think that his view of what art is fundamentally wrong, what I've heard is that it's actually not terrible because of him. It's just that since people already disliked him, they just assumed it was his fault. But apparently the studio chopped the shit out of this movie. Like, I think that like Kylo Ren not having any dialogue could easily be a function of like they were scared that fans wouldn't like the plot, so they completely re-edited the movie, including removing all of Kylo's dialogue. That way, it would be a different plot. You know what I mean? Like,
super surprise me.
I could see that happening, and that makes me furious. Obviously, apparently, I think this is apocryphal, but like, apparently, J.J. Abrams like didn't get to see the final version of the movie. He saw it in theater with everybody else. Like, for like 2 weeks before the movie, he just didn't get to see it, and they just did whatever they wanted with it. So maybe that's it. Or maybe he's a hack and everything I've always thought about him is actually true.
Yeah. And it just...
He's probably not that bad.
It's like the Hey Fellow Kids, but with Star Wars, where it has a lot of things that it does that like, hey, don't you remember this part? Isn't this really cool? But not any of the like, hey, remember the feeling of like, this is a big ass galaxy and I can do anything that Luke Skywalker gave you. Yeah, none of the feelings, none of the emotions, but like, look, Rey can shoot lightning out of her hands. Remember when Palpatine did that and it was a big surprise? Here, it's a big surprise again.
I will say that scene did own. But then it was
it owned until it didn't matter 5 seconds later. Because
it owned, and I was like, my jaw was on the floor. I was like, oh, is this when the movie is finally like taking a turn and going in a really interesting direction? And then 5 minutes later, it's like, nope. No, it's not actually. Sorry. Yeah, the movie is constantly threatening to be interesting. But it never
I think the
Don't
main
threaten
thing
me with a good time.
I think the main thing about the movie for me, and this is the last thing because we've been going for half an hour and we should really fucking start this episode.
Yeah, but, I got Final Fantasy to play. Come on.
You said the danger word, Star Wars. Actually, you didn't even.
No.
One of us brought it up. I don't remember.
So the movie is afraid to say anything. Like
the scene where someone will get mad.
Yeah, the scene where Rey shoots lightning out of her hands is surprising because she kills Chewbacca with it. But no, it's okay. There was another spaceship. Chewbacca was in a different spaceship the whole time. We just saw the wrong one. It's not like
so
he comes back up.
It takes an emotional moment and just fucks it.
Yeah.
Constantly for 3 hours.
Only going for like scene by scene drama. It shockingly kills, and then the next scene later unkills characters. Like I think literally 3 times in the movie.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
That's
and it's not even like
that's so fucking manipulative.
Yeah, and here's the thing: a story can do that. Like, for example, the dramatic irony of Rey thinks that she has killed Chewbacca, though we, the viewer, have seen that she hasn't in fact killed Chewbacca. That could be great. But no, the scene after we learn Chewbacca's alive, she like feels him in the Force and is like, oh, Chewbacca's still alive. And I'm like, no, like her thinking that she just did something really terrible, I thought was going to like spur her character growth. But no, not at all. Anyway, yeah, I honestly think it's the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's very unfortunate.
Which is
because The Last Jedi was just so fucking good.
Yeah.
And it's so afraid and manipulative. Those are the two best words we've said about it in the past 28 minutes. It's afraid and manipulative, and therefore it's not good.
One final line about it, and you'll think this is funny. I saw this movie as a big event because I saw episode 7 with a group of 15 people that I arranged that all on my own. I was just such a big Star Wars fan. I was like, hey, I'm going to get as many people as I can to go and see this movie with me, right? So I arranged it and got people's money and bought all the tickets. I did the same thing with episode 8 with a group of, I think, 13. And that was amazing. I mean, watching an amazing movie with a group of people who were all just hooting and hollering. I didn't get to do it for episode 9 because it kind of snuck up on me. It was like the tickets were on sale and I just didn't notice because I wasn't paying attention. So I only had a group of 3, but it became 5, thankfully. So the point is, it was me and the group that has now become my very, very close friend group, and including my best friend Amber Autumn. And honestly, I not recently, like a month or 2 ago, was thinking about our relationship, and I was like, I really love this person. I really value this friendship so much. It's a special kind of friendship that I didn't really have before when I was like cis, I guess you could say. And it's just really, really intimate, amazingly close friendship, right? And I was like, how did it get this way? And I feel like it was when we watched Rise of Skywalker. Like, I feel like because after that movie, the 2 of us had to leave the rest of the group who were just like, that movie was bad, but whatever. We were like, no, we need to go and be alone. So we went to the top of the parking garage and just like were quiet for like 20 minutes and then like process what had just happened to us. Basically, it was a traumatizing experience, and you know how like people bond by going through trauma? Like that's what happened when we watched Star Wars. That sounds like I'm joking, but I think I might not 100% be joking. I'm pretty sure that me and my best friend trauma bonded when we saw The Rise of Skywalker. It's that bad.
Yeah. And I think the worst part about it is it's not irredeemably bad. Like you could go in and cut out like 20 minutes of footage and have like 5 minutes of footage of connective tissue for that, and it probably would be pretty good and pretty interesting.
I agree. It could have easily been a dumb, fun movie, like a dumb, not that good, but still fun movie. It could have easily been that.
But no, that's not what we got. So that was a big question when you said, why is it bad? Because it's...
Sorry.
See, I told you it's a hard question to answer. I honestly, if Sam hadn't jumped in and decided to actually answer the question, I was literally going to be like, I can't explain why it's bad. You should, if you want to know, you need to watch it for yourself.
Well, that's the thing is, I'm not really that good at critiquing movies when I watch them. Mm-hmm. I tend to kind of turn my brain off and just enjoy the movie, like, because I'm really, really good at suspending disbelief. Like, I grew up with a lot of musical theater, and I grew up a lot with, plays and things like that, where you have to suspend your disbelief a lot. And so, like, I've gotten to the point where I don't really critique things in the moment, and it takes me either several watchings or listening to critics and seeing what they have to say and analyzing what they're saying in order to go, oh yeah, I can see where they're coming from there, before I start going, oh, this is actually bad. It just like, and it's not that I'm being a pawn. It's not that I'm like just being someone who like goes along with the crowd or whatever. It's that I can't really take in that information while I'm watching it, because when I'm watching something in the moment, I'm just enjoying it.
Eli, like, I'm actually largely like that, just not with this movie.
Yeah, I was about to say something.
I watched Sucker Punch. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was about to say something similar, where I watched The Last Airbender for the first time, and I gave it a B- because I saw an airbender huge, and that movie is like it was enough for me to see like kick-ass martial arts and airbending on the big screen, and I'm like, that's fucking fine. I'm great with that. And I had to rationalize all of my enjoyment for episode 9, like immediately when I left the theater. Okay. I was like glad that I was inoculated against it being probably bad, because that when the bad things happen, I'm like, oh, there it is. So then I could look for the smaller stuff, and there's quite a few bits of smaller stuff that's pretty good in the movie. It's just drowned out by all of the horrible badness.
No, I would say
Airbender is a good example too.
If you'd watched Rise of Skywalker without hearing a Taller about it, you probably wouldn't have come away with this opinion, because this is like I care a whole lot about Star Wars and always have opinion. You probably would just be like, that movie was kind of boring.
Yeah,
that's very likely too.
Which is a reasonable opinion for someone who like doesn't really care about all this stuff a whole lot, you know.
Like I watched the original trilogy when I was a kid, but I only saw each movie once. Like I think it was, is it The Empire Strikes Back that starts on Hoth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I saw that in middle school when we had a movie day at the end of the school year. So I wasn't super paying attention to it, but it was on and I was kind of watching it. And then like, because it was at the point where they were re-releasing the movies out to theaters. And so like my parents took us to see, I can't remember if it was A New Hope or Return of the Jedi, but they took us to see one of them. And that may have been the time when we also snuck into the theater to see Lord of the Rings. Because like after we got finished watching one movie, and then my dad's like, "Oh, Lord of the Rings is playing in this other theater. Let's go in." And my mom was like, "I don't think we should." And my dad's like, "No, let's do it." And so we fucking snuck into Lord of the Rings, which was hilarious.
That's a heck of a day.
Yeah, it was great.
Right.
But yeah, and so I've seen each of the original movies once. I have never rewatched them, but I was a kid, and so like I don't remember a fucking thing about any of them, except that, you know, like specific key elements, like Princess Leia getting rescued, and the Ewoks, and Luke, or no, I am your father. He doesn't say, "Luke, I'm your father." That's a Mandela effect.
It is. Everyone remembers it wrong. It drives me crazy.
Yeah. But
I guess what we haven't studied
yet. So like,
are you kidding?
Eli asked why The Rise of Skywalker was a bad movie.
I did a bad summer. I made the mistake of
we could put this in the bonus episode.
Yeah. Just make a bonus episode of us talking about Star Wars.
We might just put this as a bonus episode along with our Pokemon for 40 minutes episode.
Right. Why are we like this, Sam?
Or actually, if y'all don't know if y'all don't have a bonus game planned for my moving week, that might be something we could do.
So that's a good idea, actually.
Just throw that up there.
Yeah, just edit shit together like we did it in one big episode. But yeah, so like I've only seen each of the movies once, and like it was okay. I had cousins, or I have cousins, who are just absolute Star Wars fanatics, but I grew up in a Trekkie household. Not that you can't like both, because my husband is a testament to that. But it's just that a lot of times it's one or the other, and my parents were the Trek side. And so like I didn't really grow up amongst Star Wars. It didn't really affect me all that much. And then I saw The Force Awakens, and Ken was very meh about it, because he was like, "Oh, it's just New Hope rehashed. It's just the same damn thing." I'm like, but it's good. I don't care if it's the same thing as A New Hope, because I liked it.
Yeah.
And then I saw Rogue One, which I really enjoyed, and I saw The Last Jedi, which I fucking loved. I was like, maybe that was part of it too, is that like The Last Jedi took everything that was Star Wars and just fucking dismantled it, and maybe that was why I liked it so much, because it was just like, fuck the canon, like let's do away with all this shit and just have fun with it. And like Yoda sitting there and laughing his ass off over the Jedi sacred ground being burned,
best like shit ever. Yeah.
Oh, Red so fucking good. Like the whole movie is just fucking amazing, and it frustrated me so much to hear people bitching about it. But I felt good knowing that my friends, my close companions, all had pretty similar views on it, and were all on board with The Last Jedi, and it made me feel like I wasn't stupid.
I saw it as early as I possibly could have the night that it came out, like 7 p.m. and I came out just hooting and hollering so much that when the negative opinions started, like the outrage started happening the next day, I wasn't just like, I disagree. I was like, I can't comprehend how this could be happening.
It's a problem for me too, is like the fact that I turn my brain off when I'm watching movies and can't critique them in the moment. I end up feeling really stupid when people later on are like, oh, how could you not see all these problems with it? How could you not see all these continuity errors? And I'm just like, I don't know, because I was enjoying the movie. Because there were other things I was paying attention to. What?
Continuity errors are fake. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway, Star Wars is mostly good.
It's complicated.
Oh yeah. Also, I thought
it's a Facebook status.
I should mention, saw Rise of Skywalker with the worst possible context. I saw it a week after having done a 8-film marathon of the entire series, during which I've always been a prequel defender. But during that marathon, I was watching it with the same friends I mentioned earlier, and I was like, I'm the prequel defender in this group. I hope that I can hope that my friends can maybe see why I like the prequels and think they're actually good. It turns out that by the end of the prequels, we watched them in the correct order, which is numerical order. I mean, that's not the only correct order, but whatever.
Yeah, because I've been hearing about, like, there's some order to watch them in where really it's matter. Like A New Hope and then 2 and 3, and then anyway, go on.
It doesn't really matter, but we watched it in that order actually more for the reasons of who was going to be joining us. Some people were like, no, the prequels suck, we don't want to watch them, and we're like, okay, well, we're starting at 7 a.m., so just show up later, right? We'll do the ones you don't want to watch early in the day, right? So anyway, the point is, by the end of the prequels, me and my friend were just like, all three of them were like, these movies are goddamn masterpieces. Like, she went from doesn't think they're that good to thinks they're goddamn masterpieces, and I went from has always thought that they're pretty darn good to like we were like completely just like bawling by the end of the third one. And I think all three of us cried it multiple times throughout the first and second movies, because when you put them in thematic context. Anyway, the point is the prequels are great and everyone's wrong about them. So that was part of the context for me watching Rise of Skywalker, was I finally realized so much how much I loved the prequels. But also, you know what movie I saw literally about 2 hours before I saw Rise of Skywalker? Knives Out.
Oh, that's a problem.
I saw that in theaters. Literally, I saw Knives Out at like 1 p.m. and then I went home and had lunch and then got my friends to go see Rise of Skywalker. So, like, the worst possible way to put Rise of Skywalker in context, right?
Knives Out is so fucking good.
So I guess that means the last two movies I had seen were The Last Jedi and Knives Out, and then I go and watch Rise of Skywalker. So obviously, it was not going to look good, juxtaposed in such a way.